Hi everyone, it's Corinne. Welcome to this episode of Mindset Mondays. I'm coming to you from the scenic alley outside my co-working office. Hopefully no garbage trucks will come while I'm recording this. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the importance of cultivating positive habits. So I think this is a time of year that a lot of us like to think about making resolutions, making big changes, and I actually think that we don't give enough attention to small habits in our daily routine that can be very positive or very negative. So I think for a lot of us, negative habits are like the path of least resistance. The easiest thing to do when you don't know what to do or you feel bad or you're just, in a rut is the negative thing, like eat too much, watch TV, drink too much, surf the internet for hours at a time. I'm a stress eater. I don't know about you. And those negative habits don't make anything better, and in the end make us temporarily feel better, but in the long run feel worse. So how are we going to cultivate some more positive habits? I've got a few ideas for you. Number one, try to set a positive tone for every day. And I realize that for some people, like if you have significant caretaking responsibilities for little kids, older parents, even pets, your day may just be, off to the start that it's off to, and there's not a lot you can do about it. But if you have even 5 minutes, that sounds like an infomercial, but here we go. If you have even 5 minutes at the start of your day, I highly recommend something like the 5-minute journal or something like it. Not an affiliate deal, I just love it. And you could sort of make your own. I'll show you here one of maybe you can read that, the blank pages. So this is a thing that literally you can fill out in 5 minutes that has you put down 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things that would make today a good day, and a daily affirmation that you want to say about yourself. So you say something like, this morning I wrote, I am stronger than I think. That was my daily affirmation for today. And I think that can sort of set a positive tone for your day, and maybe try to do the same thing in the evening. So I know probably like a lot of you, when I'm tired at night, there comes this point where I'm too tired to do anything productive, but it's too early to go to bed. And so then I'm often doing something like mindless. I mean, sometimes I'm reading a book, which is very worthwhile, but sometimes I'm doing something mindless. So I started doing this sequence of yoga core exercises that takes like 15 minutes. And I found it's making me feel so much better and physically stronger that sometimes I even do it twice if I have half an hour. So think about that. Number 2, cultivate some slivers of sanity in your day. So there are definitely times in life where things just feel totally out of your control and insane. My family had a year like that with multiple health crises. And actually this year with my daughter's senior year in high school, there are a lot of times that feel really crazy. But whether it is something like take a walk around the block that literally takes 5 or 10 minutes, get out in the air, see live people, get your mind off what you're doing. Or another thing I try to force myself to do is subscribe to positivity accounts on social media. That sounds a little bit cheesy, but for example, I actually enjoy going on Instagram because there are things that I like to look at, but you can definitely get sucked pretty easily into like the mindless scrolling. So I just try to subscribe to like Buddhist accounts, poetry accounts, positivity accounts. So at least I'm seeing something that makes me feel good about myself rather than that endless, like I'm comparing my bad days to everyone else's best days and feeling even worse. Number 3, and I think this is perhaps the most important one, avoid negative thought spirals. So I think lots of us, I'm sure I'm not alone in this, that you think of one bad thing happening and then you think, and then this, and this are also going to happen. Like, I'm sending this marketing email, no one's going to respond. No one ever responds to my marketing emails. Why am I even doing this? Maybe why am I doing this job? You think, it's easy to start thinking that. And I think in the bigger picture in life, I've sort of realized as I get older, I'm 48 now, one of the reasons that you get into negative thought spirals is because you have experienced really hard and awful things in life. It's not illogical. So for example, several years ago, my family was going for a hike and my husband said, I don't feel so great. And thus started a medical saga that still is not over. It's better, but it's not over. And that was 3.5 years ago. Or our cat, who was in totally good health and not young, but not super old, started looking not so great. And 3 months later, later suddenly died. And I just think you have to say to yourself, like, that's life. Life goes through significant ups and downs, but it is not illogical to start those negative thought processes because you've seen horrible things happen. So what are we going to do to short circuit those negative thought processes and start a more positive habit? First of all, ask yourself, can I control something about this situation? Can I do anything? Because if not, the worry itself does not help. Say that to yourself as many times as you need to. The worrying does not change anything. The worrying does not help, whether it's about work or your personal life. Worrying about not making enough money doesn't help anything. Doing marketing could help, right? Number two, if it helps you, I find that it really helps me to have something to visually or physically focus on. So as an example, over the summer, my daughter did a 2-week mountain bike camp trip to Canada. She'd never been away from home before, and they went on a 2-week trip with no parents. So this was huge. So I went into Canva, that's C-A-N-V-A, little graphic design tool that some of you may use also. And this sounds cheesy, but it helped me. I made a little card in Canva, sort of like as if I was making an Instagram post that said, she is safe, she is healthy, she is strong. And whenever I would start worrying about her, I would look at that and I would say to myself as many times as I needed, she is safe, she is healthy, she is strong. And I think the last thing I would say about the negative thought spirals is, if you can't force yourself to think something positive, because when something really awful is happening, sometimes that's not possible, or sometimes you feel that there is nothing possible, at least think something neutral. So at least focus on your breath, focus on the feeling of, your feet on the floor or yourself in a chair, or say to yourself a completely neutral thing like, life goes on. Life goes on, life goes on. And that, if you can't force yourself to think positively, is at least better than catastrophizing, right? So there we go. Set a positive tone for the day, find slivers of sanity, try to short circuit negative thought spirals. Thanks. Talk to you next week.